And we are live
We are live.
in the void,
Hello.
in the void, in the void, in the void. And it is a void. Can I just say that? We are in the void,
Yes.
literally and literally.
Literally and figuratively.
Well, yeah,
We're
and
literally and
figuratively, we
literally
are in a
because we're in the
spiritual void.
spiritual void, which
Yes,
is
we are.
the channel, our chat today. So to everyone who is in, thank you for being here. I not sure if I can see the chat, but I will get back to you in a bit. So for whoever is in chat, thank you for being here. Of course, it's myself, Alana Banana. We have Hilly Lilly from Nova Scotia. And of course,
Hello.
we have the lovely Ravneet of Winds of Reflection.
Hi,
So,
everyone.
and of course, Hilda's channel is Nova
Nova
Scotia's
Scotia's
Organic to the Land
organic to the
Story.
land stories.
I had to think about it for a second to make sure I get it right in the right order. So,
All right, I have
yeah.
to think about it.
What's that?
It's okay. I have to think about it sometimes. I got to say my own story or say my own title and I have to stop and think, what is it? Because I did change it too. But I like the new one.
So yeah, but of course, today what sort of inspired this conversation is the idea of linguistics and the evolution of language. And one of the things that I think that we all sort of agreed on is the fact that, and especially considering that I myself personally only speak the one language, which is English, um, and but for Ravneet, of course, that's not your mother tongue, so it's a secondary language for you. But the thing is, and I think Hilda, you only speak the one, right?
I do.
Yes, so we both only speak the English. But man, can the English language, or even sometimes language in general, but I think more so English, is quite the oxymoron. And that was the one of the things that we come to realize, because when we think about words and we think about where they originate from, a lot of the English language, the words don't stem from English. So the
Well, the
way
meanings. The English language is filled with one word can have 2 to 3 different meanings. And when you use it, all those meanings can have a different meaning. And yet, you know what, you're saying the same word. So I've always questioned the trickery of all of that.
not
So
even to mention,
what are we really saying is the main thing.
and not even just as like what you're saying, not even to mention that, but also the fact that we have words that, yes, um there's words that sound the same but are spelt differently and have different meanings. So yes, they're one word that can have several different meanings because it's the one word and it's spelt exactly the same way, like read and read, right? Like it's spelt exactly the same way, but depending on how it is in a sentence, it's going to be different. The
Yeah.
meaning will be different. The same thing with right? But here's the trickery with that one, is because there are different rights. There's right as in rite of passage. There's right as in go right. There's right as in I'm right and you're wrong. But which right is the right one depends on what the
The
conversation is.
context it's being used in.
Exactly. And because they're spelt differently, that's another foolery all in and of itself, right? So where it's like, where does all of this sort of stem from, and how do we make sense of it all? And so I want to start with, actually, let's start with Ravneet. What were some of the words that you thought of that you see as problematic?
Um, in
Because I
English?
know we had this conversation and it was like, well, there are words that can be very
Well,
triggering.
mhm. Yeah. I think there are many, very many, but if you're talking about English, that I know that sin in Aramaic is actually means um, off off the mark. So it does not mean like we think it is, like we lost it or something, but it just means that you're a little bit off the mark and you can go back. So, but in our current um, diaspora, we don't, it's a big thing, especially in Orthodox religions, right? Um, Also, in general, I feel like because I grew up in India, um, our names are are picked up very specifically because every word has a vibration. Um, so when you keep saying that name, you keep manifesting that vibration, right? So names were specifically picked, spiritual names were picked up, even now, so that when we keep saying that, it manifests in that person. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like my name, I don't think my parents thought that much, but my name means like the radiance of the sun, or the morals, like the sun. So if you keep saying that name, that's what you become. It's almost like that's your potential. So I can go on and on, but like this is how important words are, because they have, every word has a vibration. But yeah.
It's
So
Go
it
ahead.
makes me think this, and this is where I want folk to start thinking. Now, knowing that every word carries a vibration, and that just a name, your name and its meaning, in the fact that it carries a vibration, that name carrying the vibration in your life is, every time someone says it, it's going to radiate something. When they say Ravneet, 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 the sun is shining on Ravneet. There's an energy that's coming from that force. And I do think that you emulate that energy within your own life
Rev
that you
neat,
give
rev
off.
neat, rev neat,
You know,
rev.
but my point being is, okay, so if that is the case, this is where I say, okay, think people, why is it that they have us using the English language almost everywhere? And why
Mm.
is it that the colonizer made sure that you did not use your language, but you use the English language? Words carrying
Mhm.
vibrations. Each word is a spell, is a form of a spell. So why is it that we are just using the English language? I'm just saying things that we need to think about.
Well, it's become, yes, it's become the most universal of languages, right? But and that's what's weird about it, because the thing is, it's universal, but it didn't start. A lot of the words that are in the English language don't originate in English, so that's the part that's like, mm.
Yeah.
And
Well, okay, let's just say this one. The words that are, well, I don't know whether they start in English or they don't start in English, because I'm going to be very honest with you. I didn't do my research to that degree. But I'm going to think like this. This is how I think. What do they have us saying morning in the morning? Morning. And when we know that morning is also associated
Mm.
with death.
yeah,
That's the reason why I don't say morning anymore. It's clearly associated with death. It's not with living. So why do they have us saying morning? Because there is a meaning that does go with that, and it's not a very good meaning. But yet we say it every day, like it's something, what, that's good. But what are we casting in our lives? Are we
well,
casting more morning?
well, here's what I've been coming to understand about those things. So the idea for mourning, and where that comes out is because with the sun rising and setting, when you say good morning, you're also mourning and saying goodbye to the day before, right? So it's a with the grand rising, which is something that our beloved Hilly loves to say. And I love the fact that you use that as a term, grand rising. It's because of the fact that we're waking up to a brand new day, giving the symbolism that it's a new day to start. So whatever happened previously you're basically mourning the
Okay,
end
let's talk
of
about the
that.
vibration that goes with each word. When you say morning, say the word morning and then say grand rising. The vibration, what vibration do you feel when you say each word? When I say grand rising, it's like that gets my attention. That wakes me up. That makes me feel
Yes,
good. When I say morning, morning, I shrink down.
yes,
It's not
it's
like, and I
true.
have to make myself kind
I
of
also want to say that we, when we overuse the word, we tend to get desensitized almost.
Yes,
That's another thing. Even if it means something good, uh, we might we might not feel it. So
right.
that's another thing. It's not that simple.
yeah,
And I also wanted to mention there's this book that I read a couple years ago. It's called Soul Contract Decoded by Nicholas David, in which he shares that the power of name, our name, it decides our destiny, it decides our life path, and how
Mm,
yes.
he channeled all of that information using Kabbalah and other. It was basically channeled, the whole thing, and he says that sometimes we should change our names too if it doesn't match with what it is that we want. So it's that powerful. I'm saying, like it's that powerful.
And
The words that we
it's
look
use.
at
very
Prince.
true.
Prince changed his name for that particular reason. The artist Prince
Yes.
changed his name because of the vibration.
Yes.
Now the speaking of names, so like, like especially because that's a very good topic, and I love that you brought up the whole thing about names, because I have been curious myself, and I went and I researched my names. Now, of course, when I guess to being Caribbean, it's it's a Caribbean thing. Everybody have to have multiple names. I don't know why. You can't just have a first name and a last name and maybe a middle name. But sometimes we end up with 4 and 5 names. So anyway, so yeah, I have 4 names. And I've actually looked them all up and realized that they all stem from different cultures, and they have their particular meaning. And I've deciphered it into the point where when I put my names together, what do they really say? What are they really speaking? And certain things have come up, and that is where I realize, okay, so now I'm understanding a bit more about my path. I'm understanding a bit more on some of the things and the what do you tests or tribulations that I've had to go through and survive. I realized, okay, well, it was almost like a predetermined destiny sort of thing. And a lot of the time, where do like we don't pick our names, right? They're usually given to us by birth, right? We don't come out of the gate and be like, hey, my name is Alana, hello, you know, right? Our parents, however, whatever thought process they go through, whether it's intuitively speaking, whatever, however they choose, they come and choose their name or our names. And then now it's whether or not can we live up to those expectations. Like now we have the amount of names of people. Oh, my child's name is Apple. Oh, Mercedes. Meaning, while Mercedes don't look anything like a Mercedes. Mercedes is probably looking like, like a Tonka truck or something like that. Like, I mean,
I
right?
heard I and recently saw a guy whose name was Jesus. So there are a lot of people whose name is Jesus. So um
But it's pronounced Jesus.
You
Depending
know, I'll
on
tell
the
you,
language, right?
Jesus.
The culture.
Oh, yeah, that's
My
true.
mom,
But
my mom, after having 13 children, I can guarantee you, at each birth towards the end, she was not really picking a name. The child would come, and I don't think some of us had a name even when we came home. So somebody said, "You know what? Name so and so
yeah,
this," and she said, so she went with it. And I'm going to say it like that because my mother, listen, I've got four sisters. Let me see: Phyllis Ann, Susie Ann, Elizabeth Ann,
Somebody
Shirley
with the name Anne.
Ann. Like all of them got the same middle name. I'm thinking, couldn't you get more original? Then she gets down to me, because these are the steps that are going down to me. All these people are Ann, and then all of a sudden, she gives birth to me, and then she comes up with Hilda Dolores, Hilda, Hilda, and then Dolores. Neither one of these names is black. Not anything about none of those names is black. And not only that, but it said Dolores. Really? So there was not much thought process, is what I'm trying to say. I don't. Well, she told me I was named after her friend, but my whole point being is there's got to be thought
Yeah.
process put into your name, or you're going to end up with.
I don't
Because I
think
don't think that
people
she ended up
do.
with all those ands
Okay.
for
You know what? Okay, so I'm laughing because as soon as you said Dolores, where does my mind go? Because you know I'm a movie buff, and you know I'm
Dolores
like,
Claiborne.
no, that wasn't the Dolores.
Oh,
The Dolores that I'm thinking of is Sister Act. Dolores Van
oh.
Cartier. That is that is the Dolores that came to my mind. Sister Act.
That's right. Now don't and look, I got on my black. Gee, I got on my black. I could start singing. Don't make me start singing. Cause I'll go choir with you in a second.
Oh my god! So right, like that's what I was saying. As soon as you said Dolores, I just heard Sister Act in my head, and I was like, "Ooh, Dolores Van Cartier."
And
So
here's the deal. I gotta tell you, here's a true story. I went through Dolores all of my life being told your name is Hilda Dolores, Hilda Dolores. I get my birth certificate. My mother even says your middle name's Dolores. This is the thought process. I go get my birth certificate, and guess what it says on my birth certificate? Hilda Lois. All of my life. And I didn't get it until I was an adult before that whole Lois thing. So running around with a fictitious name. So I do say, just for the sake of, what is your name? No, it's Lois. Because I don't do the correction. Anyways.
it's crazy because it's funny because even as we talk about the names, I realize that even like it's an in thing about it's the Caribbean background. Like the thing is, a lot of the time they have multiple names, but the thing is, they don't use the given name. They're either a name that's unrelated to who they are, or it's they're using a middle name as a first name. And that's been the story about me sort of growing up with my mom, because I always thought my mom, her name was a particular name, only to come realize as I got older, no, that's actually her middle name. She has a first name which she doesn't go by, so even to call her by that first name sounds really strange. Then fast forward, what happens? I go to get married, and I have to dig up my mom's birth certificate to apply for my marriage certificate. Why does my mom have a fourth name that I knew nothing about? I'm now 30 and I'm just learning that my mom has an extra name on her birth certificate that I knew nothing about for the for the majority of my life. And then I'm thinking, well, what else don't I know about my family? Like, what
So
the
now we're
hell?
talking about family lineage. We're not talking about the English language, we're talking about lineage.
Well, no, we're still talking about words and things. But yeah, but as we, as we talk about that, but the other thing that I realize even with words, is some of the slang words that we've come to notice. and some of the words from the younger generation, like
Can
lull.
I just stop you for a second?
Yes.
I don't know whether you're aware, but it's like somebody is typing.
Yes, I'm hearing that.
Okay, so maybe I'm gonna. Is it me?
And
I think because it's gonna come out very choppy when we're done this, and you might not be so happy with all that choppy. So
then
maybe that's
again, you know
something that
what?
we need to address.
I ain't even gonna worry about it because it's not the first time we've been doing choppy lives. So,
Okay.
but I'm not typing. Is anybody typing? No.
No.
So anyway, so we'll just keep going. But
It sounds like Morse code going in the background. Da-da, da-da, da-da,
maybe it's the
da-da.
universe trying to communicate with us. But one of the things that I was talking about was like some of the slang words. And one of them from a younger generation, I hear a plane go by.
You know, it's my friend. I keep telling him, you need to fix your muffler because that's terrible. Dale,
He's
fix your
That was a
muffler.
car?
That was his truck. And yes, Dale, I'm calling you out live on a video. Get your
I,
muffler fixed.
I thought that was a plane.
It sounds like a plane, doesn't it? And he toots every time, so that's why I lift my glass.
But yeah,
that's
but
meant
say that again.
the
Oh,
What's that?
it might be Ravneet because you're chopping up. We're not hearing you.
Is it me?
No, I
It's
think it's
me.
Ravneet.
Can you hear me?
Yes. And now that Morse code is stopped.
Morse code stopped.
So it was you.
It was like da-da, 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 da-da.
I did not hear that, so probably
Yeah.
it's me then. Okay.
But yeah, what I was saying is some of these slang words like that have come up with like lull, and lull being now something that's in the dictionary, which is really an acronym for laugh out loud. So to me, it's like, but it's one thing to, because, and I went to like look it up real quick to see what was the origins and whatever. But it became basically when the idea of when we're typing, right, in text messages. So to shorthand laugh out loud, right? That's where but what I've been hearing is the younger generation, like the Gen Zs and beyond, or and more present, are using that word in regular everyday language, like when they're talking to people and they're like lull, and I'm like, what do you mean
We're
lull?
just trying. There's an abbreviation for everything these days because people don't have time. People don't have time even to like use the bathroom. So you know what I mean.
Okay,
I
but
had
the thing
seen.
is, but lull is a bit extreme because lull is really supposed to be stand for laugh out loud. Well, if you're in the presence and you're having a conversation with somebody, why would you say lull instead of just laughing? Like that makes absolutely no sense, because lull stands for laugh out loud. So laugh out loud would just be ha 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 ha. Why
But
you
you
can't
know,
do
there's a different trend
that?
for every era. No, there really is. It's like, it's like, for instance, like the other night when we was in the chat in the live, in the word ace, I didn't know. A-S-E. I was like, what does that mean? I
Yeah.
was just gonna roll with it because there's
But
so
I
much
think
out there
it's
that is,
pronounced like a say,
and they think they're
or
creating something new. They're really not. And I'm just talking about the generation
yeah.
that
But it's
is.
true. It's true. But even now, if we look back at like even ancient words, like like some of the derogatory words, like the N word, for example, right? Or any of the names that, or any of the words that are used to be discriminatory or used to belittle someone, right? Because there's a lot of words, even towards the LGBTQ community that, that have that. But considering that we are all women of color, I figured about more so attacking that word that is really geared towards people of color, people of the melanated community, right? And the origins of the N word and where that stemmed from. So this sort of goes back to where I was saying about the idea that how oxymoron the English language is, because that word, the way that it how it originated is not originally English. It is a Portuguese and a Latin word. Spanish
You
and
know what?
Portuguese.
Here's the deal with that one word, because we could go back and but there's so many discussions that's been done on that word
Mm-hmm.
alone in debates on whether it should be used or whether it shouldn't be used. But I think it's a good word to use for an example of how the English language has been used to create um, spell work, because the spell work that was produced from that one word alone is so magnificent in how it was able to change a whole complete narrative of
Sorry, I
generation,
lost
and then
audio.
having generations take the word back, if you will say. But my whole point being is that, during my lifetime, I remember going to Webster's dictionary and having that word being the meaning being a piece of a boat, going to another dictionary and having it called black person from Africa. So it depends on who was writing the dictionary at the time, what narrative were they trying to promote, and that the whole narrative of it being a part of a boat in black people from Africa. Well, you know what narrative that they were trying to say, that
Mm-hmm.
what black folk came from Africa, that they weren't originally here, all of the above. So, but depending on how you were buying into that word and if it was used against you as a melanated person, it came with a scorn depending on what era you were growing up in.
Mm-hmm.
Because today it's said in rap music, it's said you know what, we will make references to one another as melanated people with that one word. So once again, depends on your knowledge of the word, the power you're going to put behind the word, because knowledge is power. Knowledge is power.
It's true. It's true. Because even when, like I said, when I was researching it and I was looking it up, and and I was finding that, oh, it didn't even originate in English. Let alone. And then when I was sort of reading, and then I because once I go down a rabbit hole, it's like I got to keep going. So then it's like I was like, okay, what's the pronunciation of the original word? And negro, pronounced negro. And then the other version of that, which they combine the two to make that word in English, is Niger, like Nigeria, Niger, and negro. And that you combine to make the derogatory one in English? Like,
Well, I think it's just I don't think English in general is a language. I think it's a mixture of all different languages,
yeah,
right?
I
Um,
agree.
and it's not just English. It's any other language I feel can be used to as derogatory to each other. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
because this particular word I think I told you before maybe, but I saw it as a substitution for color black in Morocco, I think, and
Yes.
I
Yes.
was like, wow, they have
Yeah.
written this word here, and it's not like that, and there's more to it. For example, in my culture, there are so many words which are like um, harsh, actually, like words that we don't normally use, but are used in Gurbani, which is like the scripture of the Sikhs, right? Um, and that's what made me think about the power of language, because over time we associate certain words with something, but it might not mean the same thing. And
Yeah.
so, for example, I'll give some examples, and I did some research as well. So, like Rundi, I'm just saying it is what it is. It literally means prostitute. And that word is in Gurbani for the mind that sells itself to vices. So that
Well,
for
you know
so
what? Now that I'm going to say, I'm going to just stop you right there, Revney. That makes sense. I see how you're just spreading yourself all around.
right, it's like it doesn't mean anything. I think language is very subjective, especially today.
Yeah.
If you see we use certain words just like that, we just throw them around. We use the word literally, for example, and it actually is so annoying to me because literally means when you write down, but we use literally like literally. I'm like, okay, like where are you
Literally and
writing?
figuratively. We do. I did that at the start. Like we did that
I
at the
know, but
start.
that's not how it's used. It's the wrong usage of the word.
But
Yeah.
now think of this. Think of this though. You know what? I'm going to tell you. Your name's Revney. You love to talk to people. You're sharing information and you're spreading it all around. So now listen, and you can listen. You power to the word, girl. Power to the word. Suck that up. Power to the word. Yes.
So
I
then what
know.
does that say about me? Because I just go around sprinkling
She,
love
well, you know
everywhere.
what? Listen, she's the ordained one. She's the ordained prostitute. You not everybody gets that because you didn't get the name. You didn't get the name. Hilda, I'll be the witch. Well, what is Hilda anyway? Is she a witch? Yes, everybody associates it with witch. Whatever.
Oh
Also,
my
the word
god.
witch, it was used for women who people just couldn't, Orthodox people just couldn't understand. So they were deemed like this other.
Hilda?
That's the witch archetype.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so that kind of brings me because I feel like and we sort of been feeling it ourselves, like we talked about this, like how we all felt like we were sort of incognito the last few days, right? Because there's been this really big energy shift, right? There are a lot of things that we're upgrading, we're purging, especially when for those of us that are on the healing journey, that we've surrendered to the healing journey, right? And as things, like tomorrow, you know I don't even know if you realize, but you decided to reschedule your guys live on Friday tomorrow, and you're doing it during the height of the Lionsgate portal, right? So, and that's a very, very powerful time in our, and especially what the next day being the full moon in Aquarius, right? And so, it's such a powerful thing. But even talking about the understanding of spirituality and words and stuff like that, one of the big things that sort of came to me is when we use the word vibrations and frequency, we tend to use those words very interchangeably, but they actually are very different. They're very related, but they're also very distinct on their own. And people often misconstrue the two and have a very sort of, I guess, lack of understanding of what it truly means. So, like, for example, a person can be high vibrational, but still be low frequency,
Absolutely.
right? You can be high frequency, but can often fall into low vibrations. And it depends too on what your input and your output is. So a person could be receiving high vibrational energy, but they output low vibrations to others. They could be the type then there's those that put out high vibrations to people, but they are magnets for low vibrational energy.
We were talking
Um,
about this just before we went live. And the one of the points I wanted to make, because it's a very good point. They do not mean the same thing. Vibration and frequency. If someone is not on your frequency today, you will notice it right away. It's because of this upgrade, and because of the veil being lifted the way that it is. If someone is not on your frequency, it's going to be like you're going to feel the distortion, or that's what the difference is. And it's not that what they're it's not that they're bad. It's not that it's just not the right frequency, and then it becomes just like a distorted radio. We are not on the same high vibrating, but not the same frequency. And you'll notice it right away. And then it's like with me, there's that form of distortion. And that distortion is like, it really does feel like with me right now, these days, it's like a radio that is out of tune. And I can't even handle the sound right now. It's like not the same frequency happening here. And there's a series of feelings that go throughout the body when that starts to happen. And
Yeah.
frustration is one of them.
But so the research that I did on that in regards to that, because I was like, there's two different meanings. So like there's the sort of the energetic, the scientific sort of definition, but there's also the spiritual side of what that looks like. And this is what I found. So someone like when it comes to vibrations, and we're talking about like scientifically particles and things like that, it's how these things sort of fluctuate. How does the 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 fastness, the vibration is more about how quickly the things move. And then whereas for spiritual speaking, it's like, how is one feeling and operating moment by moment? That is the determination between your vibrations. Because, right, like high vibrational sort of things is love, joy, peace, right? Things like that are low frequency would be things like fear, shame, guilt, that kind of energy. And we can go through on a any given day, we can fluctuate between love and joy and guilt and shame and fear. Like all of those things can fluctuate throughout our systems regularly, right? Go ahead.
Here's what I'm going to say is the world amps up in terms of its breakdown, and the energies become more scattered, and we're feeling the energy, which has become very scattered. We're feeling a scattered energy. That's what we're also processing right now. My whole point being is that your frequency, when you're on another frequency, a higher frequency, you're not letting that static stop you from grounding. That's the difference between, I think, that the having a higher frequency. You don't fall as easy into the static or the traps from all the distortion. It's like, what's going on? You don't get caught up in the what's going on. You're taking your center yourself, knowing that there's a whole bunch of distortion. And I'm not going to get into the distortion. I'm going to
Not
remove.
necessarily. And I'll tell you why. The reason, based on
Hold
my
on.
experience,
Hold on.
can you give
Tell
an
your point.
example? Like
Tell.
I'm so yeah, I just need an example. You guys.
Okay, I
okay,
won't get
What
up
are
of
and
you
which
get
part?
water
talking
right
The
now.
about?
example of which part?
Of this, whatever you're talking about, because to me it's a lot of words. So, but I know what you're saying. It is maybe just simplify a little bit. I'm slow.
The frequency is basically, what is your baseline? Are you, when you, what would be your baseline? So like, are you a person who, when you go out, do you, when you interact with other people, are you interacting from a place of love, kindness, respect, understanding, or and with the depth of getting to know people? Or are you seeing people as pawns and recognition for opportunities, as things that you can use? That is would be, I guess, a perfect example between the sort of the high frequency and the low frequency, because a low frequency type of person does not have integrity, or very little integrity. They see people as objects a lot of the time. That is, but it's not just that, because like I said, it could, when people who close off their heart space, they're no longer attached to their emotions. They're not they lose that sort of.
Their frequency is low. They're, you know what? I'm gonna take it's. I'm just gonna say this: that if you're not dealing with the self, if you're not dealing with your full, and that means being very present to where you're at. If you're not dealing with your shadow side,
Mm-hmm.
because you're talking about someone that, if I'm looking at people from solely the standpoint, when I start to connect with that person, what can I get from you? How can I benefit from this exchange most? And so that's really why I'm being nice. That's a lot of work. And I don't think that, you know what, most people that are dealing from a frequency that's on a higher level, you're not coming to people like that. You are going through the experience. You may be going through the experience, you know what, protecting your energy, but you are not going in there. You're just having an exchange with someone, and you may recognize that, you know what, that the person that you're having the exchange with, you might be able to see different things, but it's an exchange.
Mm-hmm.
So keep it moving, not necessarily what can I get out of this person. If you're just having a healthy exchange, it's not a manipulated exchange. You're hoping
Uh,
that, you know what, you're enlightening the person that they're having a good day, and that you're going to get a good day back, or that's me anyways.
Yeah.
so
When
that's
I
the
looked up the
frequency.
meaning of vibrations, basically, it also said that it can fluctuate rapidly based on emotions, your environment, and your inner states, right? So a lot of the time too, when we go through trauma, right? Those are the things that can attack and lower, right? That can lower our frequency, especially if we're constantly engaging in low vibrational things, right? When we're constantly stuck in that low, eventually over time can lower our baseline of our frequency. So when we do the things like the healing work, when we do the shadow work, when um we are grounding ourselves, because the idea of what I was also looking at about raising your vibrations versus raising your frequency. Things to raise your vibration would be things like meditation, grounding yourself, um, feeling your emotions, practicing gratitude. Those are the things that will help to raise your vibration. And the more that you do that, the more you eventually will raise your frequency. But to raise your frequency, you're doing things like healing your trauma. You are aligning with your truth. You're nourishing your soul, and you're living with integrity. Those are the things that will heighten your frequency. But
That's
as
what
When
your
I
you're
was.
in the
frequency can be up
present,
here, you
you're
can still vibrate high and low all the time.
That's what I was thinking. Without actionable steps, you cannot stay at a high frequency. Without doing the work, you cannot. You can fake it, but you cannot. You just can't stay there. You'll be thrown
no,
off
no.
easily because you're not vibrating there. there's some work to be done. So I think, okay, and now I got it. Thank you both. Thank you both.
Yeah.
Well, that was a whole lot of talking. But anyways, we got to the point, didn't we? We got to the point. We got
No,
to the
but
Yeah.
point.
I got it.
So yeah, but
I'm
you
going to
can,
go get some more water. I need more water, so I'll be right
Okay.
back.
no problem. I still think that you can because like it depends on, you know, sort of what your mission is. Like especially the biggest part that I take away from that is the idea of integrity, right? If you are a solid person with integrity, that your baseline is always going to be high vibrational. You may
Right.
fluctuate, like I said, again and again, over and
Yeah.
over with the vibrations,
Mhm.
right? Um, but if the longer that you stay in the low vibration, that eventually can tank your frequency and
And then
bring it down.
it goes back to values and habits, right?
Yes,
It really goes back to that, the
exactly,
developing better habits. So it's kind of
exactly.
the same thing that I was saying. Because without developing that, it's just hard. Because if you're floating all the time,
Yeah.
um, so okay, nice.
Yeah, so that's where like, that was like some of the stuff that I was like, when it came to like language and things like that, we hear all kinds of words, where things are concerned, and the way that things are interchanged, because especially being, sort of, what's that, free flowing and spirituality, you're hearing more and more different terms, and it's like, well, what does that term mean exactly? I hear it a lot, right? Like and I hear things like I said, like vibration and frequency used interchangeably a lot of the time, but I'm like, that doesn't quite sit right. And I was like, so that's where I was like, let me look that up, because I believe that they're like two different things.
I
Yes,
also
no.
want to say that
Yes.
these words hold power. When I say even, and I'll go back to Gurbani because that's what I know about, right? My experience with it. These words are supposed to shake you up from your slumber. They're supposed to raise your consciousness.
Yes.
Um, when today it's very different, it's almost like, and it reminds me of Osho, because in one of his lectures he says you could use any word you want, because if you're using it as a release, because when we say fuck, it's like a release, you know what I mean? There's no point of saying it, but it feels like a release. So his point was that words in themselves don't carry power, our intention behind them does.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right.
And even in Gurbani, I hear words like fool, which is like you say someone a fool, nobody likes that. But it's like a person who's ignorant, a person who doesn't want to wake up. It's like, hey, fool, get up. Like, what are you doing? Um, it's almost like words have the power um, to wake us up, but also like put us back to sleep. You know what I mean? It's just how it's used. And
Very, 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 very good point. Why do you think they have us saying morning? My whole point, morning, grand rising. One does put you more into a slumber.
it does.
It's about putting your thinking into a way of you're certainly not thinking power. Weekend, week at the end of your week. Week, weekend. Why is
And
it weekend? And
and
then you
that's
know what do we wait for? Friday. Oh, I just can't wait for the weekend. Oh my goodness, so what? I can get some rest.
Yep. That's true.
it's very dense energies that we as a collective have built up. And yeah.
Even when we use, and that's a big thing, and there's one thing that I'm really still still struggling with to try to because some of these things become second nature, right? Like because you're accustomed using the phrase, but it's then when you sort of you learn about it, like the idea of when we say I am, right? I am tired. You're only just reiterating that, so you're gonna always feel tired if you continuously say that. You know how many times I catch myself and I'm like, no, 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 I'm not. I am not tired. No, I have all the energy in the world. That's why. That's how I try to counteract that, and then do a little shake it off. And no, I'm not tired. You know, because those are
And
the things, and that's
that,
also why
yeah,
I think I
because
also
affirmations, that's why affirmations are so important.
yes,
Because
exactly. But that's also where I realize for me why I always am accustomed now. I use the term I am love. I embody it. I am love. I give love. I receive love. That is the whole point. So, therefore, and if love is the thing that ultimately is the goal, then that's what I am. So, that's why I adapted to that. So, which is why I always say on my other channel, which is why I always say I am love. But I also want to reiterate that. But as I see myself as love, when I look out into the world at other people, like the two of you emanate exactly that love. So if I am love, then so are you. Because as I'm human, you are too.
Mm.
And that's why I say that.
yeah, I think that was the whole point of prayers, if you ask me, to
Yeah.
listen to this yourself, not for others. It's not for others. It's for us. It's for you to listen to it so it becomes your frequency.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So I think it's just that's where the whole idea of mindfulness comes in, and why it's so important to be mindful of the words we speak to ourselves, the words we speak to one another, because it holds, as you say, it holds power, and it depends on how are you wielding that power each time you open your mouth, right? Because words are spells. It's why it's called spelling, which I think many of us have come to realize. There's a reason why it's called spelling.
Yes.
Listening to you, I feel like that requires a certain level of sensitivity. And we go back to habits. Are we creating space for ourselves, for our feelings, for our emotions, so then we can actually be present to how we are acting up and showing up in the world?
Yes, exactly.
I think it requires a certain level of practice and way of living to do that consistently, because I've seen that, because I grew up in a religious family, and we used to go to Gurdwara, which is like Sikh temple. Um, by the way, nobody says temple in India. It's Gurdwara, which is like it basically. I'm just saying how much difference there is. So nobody says Golden Temple. It's Harimandir Sahib, which is in Amritsar in North India. And Harimandir, which basically means it's temple of the Hari, which is the omnipresent, that spirit, temple of the spirit. That's what it means. But you just can't say it in English. There's just no, you just can't convert it. Like most of the words that we speak in Punjabi, my language, or Gurmukhi, which is what Gurbani's written it, you cannot convert it into English. You just can't. There's no word for it.
Yeah.
Gurdwara means it's like dwar, which is like entry. Gurdwara, the entry to the spirit. That's what it means. But can you say that in temple? It just, you know what I mean? It's just very different. Like
Yeah.
the gurus created their own language for the same reason, because Mughals came in and so many people before them came into India and created their own languages and all of that. And then the gurus were like, we're going to create our own language because that's how we take back our power.
Yeah.
So Punjabi is still a it's one of the languages in India and also all over the world. The Sikhs are all over the world, but that's how much language is important.
It's true. It's very true. Were you going to say something, Hilly?
Yeah, you
You
were.
know what I was, but I missed my point. It was good points that she was making. But the fact is that once again, I will say this. Why is it that they stopped you from using your language?
Yeah.
And what was your language? The thing of it is, you know, we have to go back because of the history that's been done to the organic people of the land here. Those that, yeah, all of that. Uh,
Yeah, and
so,
a lot of people are learning Aramaic, and my whole education was in English, right? I grew up in India, but everything was in English. So I did not actually got enough time to engage with my language. And then I came here, it's all English. But now I'm trying to go back and trying to see what is my legacy, my heritage, my
and why was it
spiritual.
that they had you learning
Yeah,
English? You're in India,
exactly.
but why do you have to learn English? Why is it
Because
English? Why is that for the whole world? For
Mm-hmm.
the whole world, why
for the
is that?
whole world. It's the Britishers that brought English, and
And it's a
people were, yeah,
common
and
language, common spell all over the
common
world.
language,
Yeah.
exactly. But the more we can understand this, I think then we can actually go back and learn about our own cultures and languages, the beauty of,
Yeah,
and the wisdom. There's just so much wisdom in
It's
our
true.
history.
But even
Um,
even even in sacred texts, because as you were talking, Revney, and it just got me to thinking again about the idea. But like we go back to even all the sacred texts, right? Like the good old Bible, which was never first written in English to begin with.
no,
Hello. And it's been translated over how many thousand times in various languages, let alone English? Because
yeah,
English has probably um I forget like how many thousands different versions of the same one text. It's so convoluted and diluted. Like it just how do you and even on this journey I was spirituality and spiritual awakening and stuff like that, when I've gone back to old texts of that I and scriptures that I used to read back then, and how much it became sort of routine, so it's like I had it memorized, and then all of a sudden going through my spiritual awakening I found myself saying these same prayers, these same reading and reciting these same texts that I've done throughout my life right from childhood, but there was a new profound meaning and understanding of what I was reading, what I was understanding and comprehending that I never, ever thought of before. And I
and that's,
realized it takes on a whole new meaning.
yeah, and that's what it is, that it goes back to the same, like the frequency vibration concept you were talking about. You speak the same text from the low vibration, you're not going to get it. You're going to get your version of it, but you're not going to get it
That's right.
right.
That's
until you
right.
raise your vibration, and then you're like,
Say
oh,
that again, my dear, for the people in the back who probably didn't hear you.
yeah, until you do raise your vibration, you're not going to get it. You're
Yeah.
just not going to get these spiritual texts, because they are at a very high frequency. And I say that even to people of my cultures, I'm like, we have no fucking clue what
No,
Gurbani
we
is
don't.
talking
We
about.
don't.
And I do want to spend time on Gurbani because I just did not get it. It was so high level, and I was carrying so much trauma. I was like, I just don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just
And
doesn't
And
stick.
I think that it's there lays the point, the importance of really doing your personal journey. Because you don't do that, and you don't take the time to ground, to center, to so that
Yeah.
you can so that you can hear the upgraded version to the
Hmm.
information, because you don't get the upgraded version until you've done that. Ah, okay, I see it from a higher level of
Yes,
understanding. There's a higher level to this. It's not
Yes.
so literal, but there's a deeper meaning to all of this.
that's
So
it.
now
Ding
I can see
ding,
the symbolism
ding ding.
into.
And that's the thing, like I said, like going back and reading, and then it's like, okay, well, I realize, well, even in the collapse of my life, I found my way into working into a Christian bookstore.
Mm.
Okay. I realized that there was a purpose for that, because
Yeah.
there was a level of understanding now that I was unlocking, that had I not had that experience, I
Yeah.
probably would have still been in the dark about. There was a lot of things that I was now uncovering, where with to do with translations, to do with
Yeah.
even understanding where, um like, the whole idea of, because we have spoken about this too, the idea of spiritual warfare and what is even going on right now, and understanding that. And to me, that whole persona of Christianity being love and light, that they were always selling us on, and stuff like that, and I'm like, well, yeah, it's supposed to be, but that doesn't mean that it actually is, when you really dive in deeper and you really take a look at things. Because I'm like, for something that's supposed to be love and light, and I'm working in a Christian bookstore, why is there a section of books dedicated to spiritual warfare? Hmm.
Well, spiritual warfare has been existing forever and ever, and
Well,
not
I
only that,
know.
but it's even like the spell work. Once
Yes.
again, going to those spell work, there are spells that
Yes.
are, and that's that.
And the
It's like,
Bible itself is can and be has been used as a spell book in and of itself.
well, we are of dark and light, of dark and light. We have dark and light inside of us, and it's even like when it comes to spell work and your intentions. Where are your intentions coming from in anything that you're doing? So
Right.
it's not the act in of itself. What are your intentions when you're doing whatever you're doing?
Yeah.
Of the
Because I
dark
think,
or of the light?
because we all have, uh, uh, we realize that or not, we all have power. Okay. And of course, if it's hidden behind trauma, that's where we will operate from. Again, I'll go to vibration. If we are in low vibration, we are gonna throw curses at people and spells at people because we're just operating from that low vibration. So it is our responsibility then to raise our vibration so we don't end up hurting others. Of course, you cannot really hurt others unless they have no protection and I'm
A
opening up.
lot of people who are jumping out of the gate with
Right.
that low vibration and they are using that spell work do not realize
Yeah,
that most of it is coming back to them. Do not realize that
exactly.
what they are harnessing or conjuring
Yes.
things that they just cannot put away. I'll put it to you
Yes.
that way. So
And
what
that's
you're
Because
throwing out there,
it is so
coming back.
interesting, and that maybe that's another conversation because even in my family, friends, it's hard to see that because physically you have known them forever, but energetically, I see blackness, only blackness,
hmm
because we are not dealing with our trauma, with our issues. And the other day, my mom was telling me that, she feels that the people close to her are actually not happy for her. I'm like, that's what happens when we keep holding on to that trash. We hurt the people around us.
Yep.
That's what we do, and that's what spells are not some abracadabra. It's our words, it's our intentions. You know, you see someone and you have seen them all your life and you don't feel happy for them. And that inner resistance you can project on them. That's what a spell is. It's not some like Aladdin
The
movie or
power
something.
of thoughts
Yep.
and
Power of
words.
thought.
Hmm.
Power of thoughts and words. And
Hmm.
it's spell work's being done all the time.
All the
All
time.
the time. All
It's
the
not
time.
some getting
That's
fancy
why you want to
candles and
clean your
yeah,
energy. You want your
yeah.
energy, your thoughts, your words to be
It,
clean.
yeah. It's not like you need some fancy dresses and candles to do that. You're doing it
And
all
can
the
I just
time.
say something? I just want to say something because this is a good time for me to let all those out there that have been saying nasty things about me, because I know you have been. I know you have been. I want you to know that this is your karma.
Yeah.
Everything that you are receiving. No, no, I mean this one
I know
100.
that. Yeah.
100%
Hmm.
do I mean it.
It's,
Karma is returning to you right now. You
yep.
see, those evil thoughts that you sent my way, now your life is breaking down. No, 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 no. Let's not get this one twisted. It really is. And you're remembering everything I said. Everything I said. Watch your words. Watch your thoughts. And remember when I said to you that my spirit team does not play? I meant every word of it. Hush, hush,
I'm
little babies. Don't you
I'm
cry.
scared. I'm scared, Hilda. I'm so scared. But she's right. She's
She's right.
absolutely
She's
right.
right. That
I,
goes for all of us here,
yeah,
by the
all
way.
my life, I have met people like that all my life. And see how that goes back to them. I have seen that all my life. Because I don't hold any kind of ill intentions for anyone. But when people project that onto me, they get that right back and maybe even multiplied.
Listen, I'm just going to
It
say
always
this.
does. And here's the thing, here's the other thing too. You have to remember that the way karma works as well, it doesn't always come directly back to you. It is not always going to hit you directly. It will also hit, depending, will hit you on those around you. So when you do so, like for example, like the sort of the parent child dynamic, right? Whatever is sort of whatever is done doesn't it's I know I've paid a lot of karmic debt because of the actions of those that have come before me. I paid. But the thing is, I paid and I'm still here. And because I'm still here, and because I'm working on raising that frequency and that vibration, I'm also bringing in that protection. So now anything that's gonna go on funky, well, it will bounce right off. But the thing is, I don't want it to return to other people. That's not the thing. It's about transmuting that energy and giving it back to the universe and saying, take this.
I don't feel the same way. I'm like, you send trash to me, it goes right back to you.
You
Well,
know
I
what?
don't
I'm going to
fucking
tell you
care.
something.
that's the natural law of karma.
I've been waiting a long time. I've been waiting a long time. A long time. Long time. Long time. Long time.
Mhm.
Long time. So you know what? No, no. No, 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 no. Some folk will never ever get it until the karma comes to the door.
Yep,
Yeah,
it's true.
that's
And
the
so you
thing.
know what? I'll tell you something. The more you the bigger you want it to play, the bigger the karma cometh to your door right now. You see, you just seen all the different, even to the point of death. Can I just say that? Even to the point of death. So be
Yes.
careful.
Yep.
Ooh, you do your nasty shit too,
Yeah.
because you don't know. You don't know what their team is.
Yep. It's
I'm
true.
just saying.
It's
It is.
true.
Because that's how Alana, I'm just, it's a personal choice, but, or experience, I would say. But when you're so dense, that's how you learn. You learn
Yeah.
through life. We
Yeah.
all learn through life. You don't have to say anything to anyone. It's we are making a choice already when we take a specific action. So
Yeah, it's true.
unconscious or conscious,
Yeah.
I'm still doing it. So it comes back. What goes around comes around. That's how it.
Yeah.
So I'm not transmuting anything. I'm like, I want to live my life. You're sending shit to me, you get that back because that's what you're doing.
Send it right back, and I'll
Send
send
it
it
right
with some
back.
love. I'll put it in a package of
Very
love.
love.
Yeah, I'm sending that back. Sending here, and I'll put some love at the end of it. There you
I,
go.
I wrap it
and
up
There you
really
go.
well.
But see, and that's why I look at it differently. I don't look at it as I'm sending anything back. It's just gonna bounce off of me. It bounces off of me, and you better hope you have some ducking skills. But the thing is, you better be careful because if you duck, it's probably gonna hit somebody else in your family. So you sure about that? You sure you want to duck?
That's what
Might
you
as well
said.
just take it.
I know it's almost like 10 minutes over. I'm just saying, but I have seen the kids getting affected because it all runs in the family, right? Because like you said, it affects you if people around you are affected. So, and it actually hurts even more. um so it's a real thing.
It is. It really is.
And
I've seen
I
it
was
firsthand.
many years ago I heard because that was a conversation of a demon um with a spiritual being, and because that being did black magic long, like thousand and thousand years ago, and he met God, spirit, whatever, and the spirit said, black magic, no. If you want to hurt others, no. And so he was in hell for 3,000 years, and it was his time to get born. So um, through this guy, but that whole conversation is so interesting. And so I remember, God doesn't like people if you hurt others. No, no. There's a lot of boundaries in the spiritual world, I think, way more than the physical, like human world, because animals also have a lot of boundaries. Go meet a cat if you don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
so,
well said. Well said.
Yeah,
so I
exactly.
think even spirits understand that. It's really natural. So, anyways, yeah, my mind is like picking on stuff. It's like, yeah, that happened. That happened.
Well, it's funny
Yeah.
because as we were talking about language, and then you said a particular word that it was another thing that I think a while back I remember hearing the word demon, and I was like, and
Well, it was
the
a
way we
ghost.
think
I don't
about
know
the
how
word,
to. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I think in English, badruha would be like a ghost, a demon. I think.
yeah, well, a demon. It is in English, it is demon, but the thing is it wasn't that long ago. I saw something where they were sort of deconstructing the word and the idea of demon being, well, the idea of our emotions being like right, everything that's in motion. So when the idea of demon, that is because our emotions are on rest, it's been traumatized, and so it's whatever sort of thought process and things that come out of that sort of toxicity that turns the emotion now into something demonic. And that's the whole idea of when deconstructing the word demon. it's
Right.
it's yeah, it's supposed to mean like something that's dark and unrest.
Yeah, it is very much around that. When you are stuck as a human, that's what you will be stuck after too. That's just how it is. There will be no magic. Everything will be forgotten.
Listen, I've seen people. I have seen people. I was going to tell a story, but you know what? I'll leave it because you know what? I won't call the person. Oh, but I'll just say this: that I had a friend who went through a very dark time one time during her life, and at the time that I had re-entered her life, she was already in it. She was going through the dark time, and I can tell you, her eyes were black, black, black. She was not,
Mine
when
was black
someone
too.
just function, inside, like the whole eye itself, how you have the differentiating
Yeah,
color.
yeah.
Hers was black. That just lets you know just how vacant she was looking back at it, because we'd had conversations about that she was not present. She was just on autopilot, going through a lot of what she was going through during that time. And that's a scary time, because you are definitely not, you're on autopilot, so you are not present, you are not connecting within. But it was the black eye. I was like, I'd not seen that before.
Dead
I'd
eyes.
not seen something like that up close and personal, but she was going
Uh,
through some heavy, heavy stuff.
I've seen that in I've seen that in movies.
Yeah, they call that dead eyes.
Dead Eye.
And that can
That is
often
scary.
happen to a lot of, especially people who addicts. So
Makes sense.
alcoholics, drug addicts, the light is completely gone from their eyes. It's like when you look at them, it's like they're not even looking at you. It's like they're
Yeah,
looking through you. They can't
yeah.
see you. And right, and that's what it becomes. And it's funny because, as you, Hilly, had mentioned, and we're talking about the whole idea of being very disconnected and autopilot, it again brought me back to our our discussion of that movie Straw,
Mm,
and that whole process on how she was on autopilot after her child died. She didn't even realize that the kid was dead, and that whole day and how it played out was very much on autopilot.
yes. That is that. Yeah, that is, yeah, good and good. And that was a powerful movie. That was a very, very powerful movie. I think highly relatable,
Yes.
because um having such high levels of stress, and yeah, it's very it's very, very, can I just say that it was very relatable to me.
Yes, it
I'll
was.
put it to you that way.
Yes, it was.
Some of those some of her scenarios, I tell you, I've had one of those one or what I had quite a few of those scenarios happen in my life and during the raising of my daughter. So you know what? It was like, what the fuck am I? What am I viewing here? Like, this is some heavy ass shit. But when you're going through it, you are busy going through it. You aren't necessarily busy feeling it like we had an opportunity to do during that movie. So
Yeah.
that movie was like, whoo, up close and personal at different
Mm-hmm.
points for me.
Mm-hmm. It's true. But
Oh, I was going through it with my own growing up with my mother. If I wasn't going through it with myself, it was very relatable. That's all I'm going to say.
yeah, it really was. It really was. But and I mean, you know, like, just I know we're talking about linguistics, but now, of course, because the movie came up, and I'm just thinking about how talented Taraji is, and I love how she really immerses herself in the stories that she does. And I think I even sent you, because it was like almost the complete opposite end. There was a movie she did previously, but it was a comedy, and it was another movie that I would love to unpack sometime, even on the spiritual void, because it kind of now leads into that whole understanding the masculine and the feminine, right? And that sort of the whole concept on
What's
thought
the
process
movie?
and stuff like that. What men want. So
What
there
men
was
want?
Oh,
there was a
oh,
there was a there was a there was the initially that movie starred Mel Gibson, and it was called
mm-hmm,
What Women Want. And
mm-hmm.
so it was a whole premise about that, but then they revamped it, I guess, and now it was more of a black story, and it was a Taraji, and it was all about what men want. And so it put another sort of spin on that whole sort of premise that I thought was hilarious, because it comes to me speaks about the idea of when we think about empathy, and when we think about getting in tune with our emotions and also understanding the emotions of others, when we can have that sort of understanding. But it's the way she gets to that is like a whole hilarious story in and of itself, right? But that's what I like when I take my critical eye to look and re dig into the movie. That's where I'm sort of getting. It's about understanding each other and getting to, to really unpack that sort of interpersonal sort of thing. And when we really get in tune with that, we have a better chance of understanding each other at a much deeper level than just surface.
Okay, so because we're like 1:20 past the hour, do
Yes.
we have anybody in the chat and do we have any questions? I think we should see
No.
that before we close it.
No, we don't. No, we
Okay.
don't. So it's just been an observing sort of thing. And I know that probably you're going to have a lot of people who are going to check back in during the
Hey,
back, and that's absolutely okay. I feel like when we don't have sort of a lot of chats sort of coming in, it makes it easier for us to just sort of be in the moment and really listen to one another, because we can easily get distracted by all the comments and the sections and things like that. So I really enjoyed today,
me too.
and especially like even the conversation and where it sort of took us, and all the pieces that that sort of came into play. And of course, as usual, because of our chemistry together, it's just wonderful, because we don't yes, Ravneet and I did research. Hilly did it, but she didn't need to, because it was very easy for you to just jump in, and that's because I feel we're on that same frequency. We understand, the same sort of mindset we have, even in our regular conversations that we have outside of YouTube with one another. Our thought process is relatively the same. Are we on maybe different aspects of our journey? Sure we are, because we're all different, right? And we're all from different generations too. So but and that's just, to me, the beauty of connectivity, the beauty of love. It's holding space for one another regardless of where you're at on your journey, and respecting that, and loving that. And bye, Ravneet.
I'm here. I'm here.
I know you just turned
I'm
off
just
the camera.
plugging in
I
my
know.
laptop.
I got it. But yeah, and so I love that, and I love you guys for that, because the conversations that tend to come out of just sometimes casual chatting that
Well,
we have.
I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest and tell you that what, I come so close to canceling, but I'm so glad that I didn't, because you know what? It was a good conversation, and I pushed myself because I think that what, I'll be very honest with you. I think that if I allow myself, I'll just stay isolated for a very long time. I
Mhm.
won't come out for nothing. I won't come out. I won't come out for nothing. I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good right here in the keel.
Well, let me tell you
Anyway.
something. Let me tell you something. How I feel, like, because I was even telling you, like on Sunday, like I actually went out for a walk, and I went out. But honestly, I realized that yes, and that was, and partly that was, because I had my friends in my head, and everybody, you always say you need to go outside, you need to put foot in grass, and da 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 da. But also too, it's not that easy here in Toronto now because of all the wildfires up there. So the air quality is pretty toxic. So we kind of want to limit that where that is concerned. But if I was like, in Nova Scotia or
Would
something like
you give it a rush? I know you are not going to talk to me about some damn air quality. I'm in Nova Scotia, where you know what, we got forest fires and British. Girl, go on, go put your feet on the grass and talk to somebody else about
but as
air
I
quality.
was saying, I was like,
You're
how
in
I felt
Yeah,
Toronto.
was,
right. She's
how
making
I felt when I think,
excuses.
what's that?
She Alana's making excuses and letting us know. Because we told her
I went
to.
out. Hey,
I'll
don't get
call
it
her out every
twisted. I
time.
went
Every
out and I
time.
went for a walk down by the water. Don't get
That's
me
good.
wrong. I was out for way more
Very
than an
good.
hour. Okay. Not
Very
only to
good.
mention I had to drive there and drive my ass back. Okay. So
That's good. That's good. That's
Good.
good. That's
and
good.
dodging all the damn bugs that you can't see because they're all like the invisible flies that as soon as it's only until you walk into it, you're like, ugh. Okay. I
Well,
went through all of that. Okay. But
okay.
anyway, that was my whole point was saying
She
is
was
I
giving
feel
us
the
an
same
update,
way
Hilda.
because as soon
Yeah,
as I
we
came
got it.
home, it was like I'm free. Am I free though? I'm in my house, but yes, I somehow there it felt like it was freeing because it just I don't know like it's different because out it's like I feel like I can't quite be myself. I'm on guard. I'm right? And then the ghosts of the past always have to follow me around because, oh yeah, you remember when we were out here with this person and da 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 da. It's like shut
Well,
up.
it's always nice to come home. Home is
Yes,
the place that you know what is your haven. That's what we're all feeling. And you know what? When the when
exactly.
the when the air is filled with a whole bunch of different, I can be out into it, but it's certainly nice to come home, and it's
Yes,
nice to breathe when you come home.
especially when you can finally take off your clothes and be like, I'm free.
So, in having said that, I would like to thank both of you ladies for always providing a powerful discussion in one way. And you know, the fact that we just came to the discussion authentic is who we are, and you know what is real. This is the real deal. Listen, this is what being a human being really looks like, folk. This
Yep,
is really what actually, you know, what upgrading looks
it's
like.
true.
This
It's
is
true.
this is it. This is the real deal. Don't let them tell you anything different. And this is what not performing looks like. Not performing over here. Ain't nobody performing. Not today.
Nope. Nope. But don't worry, one day I'm gonna find myself in Nova Scotia and I'm gonna be happy as a clown because I'll be able to sit outside and then when I don't want to sit outside, I just walked a few feet
Who
Let
into a
me
stopped
tell
park.
you
you?
something.
Well, who stopped you, Lana? Who
Yeah,
stopped you?
nobody's stopping you. For putting your feet on the ground. Put your feet on the ground. Put your
My
boots
feet
on the
are on
ground.
the
Boot,
ground. What are
boot,
you talking
boot.
about? No, I meant that's not what I meant. I meant having the convenience to just be, sit outside and still be at home.
No,
That's what I
like
mean. In my own space, in my own backyard, with my own grass,
Well, I gotta tell
and
you,
my
my
own bugs.
temperature is changing here in Nova Scotia. We're getting like when I tell you that the evenings, it was down to 48 degrees like last night. 48. So it's like at night, the temperatures turn into fall like temperatures. Already.
Wait.
Already.
Okay, 48 degrees, you mean Fahrenheit?
No, I
Fahrenheit,
don't know whether it's Fahrenheit. Yeah, Fahrenheit. So
Because
which is
that would
kind of
not be
cold.
cold.
no,
48
no,
degrees
no. I
Celsius,
don't mean. I don't.
you'd be
I'm
dead.
talking 48
No,
going
Fahrenheit.
down, down, temperature down. 48 down. If
Oh,
listen,
48 down.
70 is
That's cold.
so 48 was it was. I said up there like I thought. Ooh, I had to put on my onesie. I had to put on my house coat when I came out this morning because I always come out first thing in the morning. You know, say hi to the birds.
Yes.
But I just had to say that. Like I said, what's going on? My earrings come apart too.
Yeah. Well, you know why the weather is wonky because we're all wonky. Mhm.
I do feel wonky too. I am wonky.
Yeah,
All right.
feeling it this week. Well,
It
Okay.
was a pleasure to
reshifting.
be here with you, with both of
But
you.
anyway, I want to thank you both for joining me on this beautiful live today. And I know even though we were all sort of feeling it, like, do we really want to do it? Especially when you guys had your live on Monday, which you guys canceled for tomorrow, which I can't wait for anyways, because the topic is another exciting topic that so
We're
I can't
talking about love.
We're
yeah,
talking about
Love
love, the
love
idea of love,
love and
and
potential
fantasy.
and
Oh,
fantasy love.
fantasy. Falling in love with the fantasy.
Look at you, Hilda. You're in the
Maybe,
zone,
wait a
aren't
minute.
you?
Maybe I'll find my fantasy fellow.
Dressing like that, dress like that
I
tomorrow.
know. Listen, this is called
Alana,
advertising.
you can put that in the shots. People are gonna watch this video a whole lot. I'm telling you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What did watch that? What are you talking about?
No, like her doing that, you can put it in the shots on this channel. People are gonna watch this video.
Oh yes, on okay, yes, yes, yes. I have to figure out how to do that though from third party live streaming. I haven't figured that out yet, but once I do, I definitely will. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
But a
but
good live.
a
Good life.
great live, and I can't wait for when we do this again. And yeah, so I want to thank you guys all so much for joining, and
I
please.
do love you ladies too. I gotta let you know that. Truly.
Oh, I do.
I got a lot of love for the both of you. I do.
I do
Aw,
too. The feeling is
same.
mutual. Trust me. I feel it, and I'm
I'll
giving it
accept it.
always right back. So, but and yeah. Okay. No, we're not. No, we're not going to start any of that. No, blubbering. Stop it.
No, no, come
No,
on.
none of that
Let's say
blubbering.
goodbye. We're just like a
Okay.
Carol Burnett.
Yes.
Goodbye. Love you guys.
Love
Thank you
you.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.